What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. Today, we are down to the final three of our 7-round team mock drafts for the 2024 NFL Draft, and we've landed on the Baltimore Ravens, a team that has been good for a really long time now, it seems. They're never really out of it. They never really have bad seasons, and they just can't get over that hump. Lamar Jackson, another MVP season for him. I thought they were poised to maybe make a little bit of a deeper run in the playoffs, but we're going to retool this team to try and make a deeper run next year. They didn't really do too much in free agency. They did lose key players along the offensive line in free agency. They added Derrick Henry, which was really nice as well. Justin Madubuike is back. That was really the number one thing that the Ravens had to do this offseason. So they got a new running back. They got Madubuike back. I think the name of the game for this mock draft is going to be really fortifying that offensive line, maybe getting another wide receiver, another early wide receiver, and really just getting some depth pieces, rotational pieces on the defensive side, because a lot of the starters are really good on the defensive side, especially in the secondary. But there's really next to nothing behind those guys, especially the safety positions. So we're going to see what we can do in this 7-round mock. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are sitting here at number 30, and I'm kind of sort of glad in one way because there's not too many prospects that are on the board here at number 30 that are really going to make my life difficult. I was really holding out for someone like Cooper DeJean or Graham Barton to actually be there, even Keon Coleman at 26. So these guys are all off the board, unfortunately. So it makes this pick actually a little bit easier for me, just a little bit of a dispute here. The name of the game for me is fortifying this offensive line. The Baltimore Ravens are a well-run organization to the point where it seems like they're always ahead of the curve. It never seems like they have any glaring, massive holes. They're always, maybe besides for now with the wide receiver room and everything, it seemed like it took them forever to get a true weapon on the outside for Lamar. Now they have Zay Flowers, who they just put all over the offensive alignment, which is great. He's a fantastic player. Loved him coming out last year. So the offensive line really needs an upgrade here. Not only that, wide receiver Adonai Mitchell is here, and man, that is just a tremendous piece to add to this Ravens offense. But it's a well-oiled machine. I don't want to make too many humongous changes, and I feel like after losing Morgan Moses, losing Kevin Zeitler, I feel like we really need to make an offensive line pick here. So super tempting taking Adonai Mitchell here at number 30. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to go with Tyler Guyton here at number 30. It's well documented that the Baltimore Ravens have interest in the athletic freak out of Oklahoma. 6'7", 328 pounds, incredible reach, incredible intangibles. He's someone that is going to have what I like to call on-the-job training for the most part, because he's not going to be this guy that's going to sit behind and learn from Ronnie Stanley or Morgan Moses. Now Morgan Moses is gone. There's a glaring hole on the right side. Tyler Guyton is someone that I think you could kind of sort of ease into that future franchise left tackle role by maybe having him on the right side right now. So he's played the majority of his career, I think his whole career actually, at Oklahoma on the left side. But you know me, if you know this channel, you know I'm not really a fan of swapping players all over the formation, especially tackles. I feel like if you're a left tackle in college, you should be a left tackle in the NFL. Same goes for the right side. But, with Tyler Guyton, his athletic profile, his relative rawness, I'd like to say, on the left side, I think the right side would be much better for him here. So I love the upside that he brings. This is a future franchise cornerstone if he reaches his potential. And you got to love what Tyler Guyton brings to the table, at least from an athletic and a physical profile. Man, at number 62, this is a really tough pick. There's an incredible amount of talent on the board at positions of need here. Let's scroll through some of them. Wide receiver, I'm actually not too in love with the value with some of these guys here at number 62. Maybe Ricky Pearsall is probably the only guy that I'm really considering here at 62. I'm going to hold off for now. I like some of these guys a little bit later. I'm highlighting someone like Javon Baker, maybe in the third round or the fourth round, is someone that I could look to, a prototypical X wide receiver, really more focused on the physicality more than the speed aspect of his game. Corner, massive player here that I'm really interested in. That's Max Melton. DJ James, Renardo Green are two players that I don't think Renardo Green actually falls past round 2, but if he's still here on the board at round 3, that's someone that I'm seriously considering. But go to edge as well, Marshawn Nealon. There's just an incredible amount of talent on the board here. I might look to trade up, honestly, after this pick because I just feel like I could really double dip here at the back end of the second round and get something super special. Not really much wiggle room here to kind of move up. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. We'll see what happens, but there's a player that's on the board that is somehow still on the board at 62, and I feel like I have to take him here. That's going to be Kinchens. You know, losing Geno Stone actually is a massive, massive piece for the Baltimore Ravens. At 7 interceptions last year that you're losing. This is a former 7th round pick that actually turned out to be probably much more productive than a lot of people actually thought. The Baltimore Ravens have a habit of either picking up safeties on one-year deals or drafting them later on in the draft and making stars out of them, and then they wind up leaving. So Geno Stone did go to the Cincinnati Bengals, I believe. They do run 3 safeties out there quite often, and Kinchens is an unbelievable player. He's kind of tanked his draft stock over the past few months between the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine, but the tape doesn't lie for me. He plays much faster than his, I want to say it was like 4.64 40-yard dash. He plays a lot faster than that would initially indicate. He is a ball hawk. His ball skills are unbelievable. His instincts are unbelievable. He is, when he slows down his game and he wraps up, he's a great tackler as well. I feel like this would be just a tremendous addition to the Baltimore Ravens. Really, really good secondary. And you might hate the pick, but I really do love the fit, and I love the value here at number 62. All right, so we're sitting here at number 93 now. I look to trade up back into either the back end of the second round or the beginning of the third round. Just what the teams wanted was just unbelievable value that I wasn't really willing to give up. A lot of great players on the board here. There is one that I did speak about before that I'm willing to pull the trigger on now at number 93. And for me, that is going to be Javon Baker. I like what a lot of these other guys bring to the table. Don't get me wrong, Johnny Wilson, to me, is a little bit more of a project, but how could you not fall in love with 6'6", 237 pounds, and, close to 4.4 speed? He warms up with butter before every single game. He drops a lot of passes, a lot of laps in concentration. I'm not really looking for something like that. I'm looking for something like Javon Baker, who's an incredible contested catch wide receiver, a prototypical X wide receiver, and this offers a lot of versatility on the offensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens. You look at Zay Flowers, rookie season, tremendous rookie year. If I'm not mistaken off the top of my head, 48% of his routes were ran out of the slot. If you look at the depth chart now, you're looking at Nelson Agholor being your starting slot receiver. And that's not a knock on Nelson Agholor. I just want more offensive pieces to kind of alleviate the starting 3 of Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, and Nelson Agholor. Also, of course, you throw Mark Andrews back into the mix. Isaiah Likely is a really, really solid backup tight end, but I want another wide receiver that can just go up and get those contested catches. I feel like Rashad Bateman could be that guy if he decides to stay healthy and actually lives up to his first-round draft status. Can't rely on that. So I'm going to go after Javon Baker. I know he's further down the board here, and people are going to comment, oh, you could have got him at 113, you could have got him at 130. Be that as it may, a lot of these boards have different players in different positions. I think that he fits best here on the Ravens at 93. I love the value. That's who I'm going to take. All right, so we're sitting here at number 113, and some unbelievable players are still on the board here. Just purely for the realness factor, I can't see Chris Jenkins being here at 113. That is someone that I would definitely consider taking at this point, but I'm going to have to hold off on that. I don't think that's really realistic. Same thing with Jeremiah Trotter Jr., another Clemson linebacker, but they took Trenton Simpson last year, who looks like he's going to be ready to start. I don't know. I do feel like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. might be available at this point because a lot of people thought Trenton Simpson was going to be someone that was a late first round pick or an early second round pick, and he wound up sliding all the way to the end of the third round. So it's certainly possible here. Josh Newton is someone I like quite a bit as well, but I did say before, I want to fortify the offensive line. I see that there's a massive hole behind Tyler Linderbaum. Also, Andrew Voorhees is slotted to start at left guard. I want to say Ben Cleveland on the right side. Voorhees was someone that was going to be a really, really highly drafted player before his ACL tear at the Combine. He still cranked out like 36 bench press reps even after a torn ACL. So The Baltimore Ravens could be in line to start him. That is certainly possible on the left side there. There is a player, I'm looking at guard, I want to look at center. There's a player that really intrigues me at number 113, and he just has that big, nasty, in-your-face type of mentality that I feel like the Baltimore Ravens just love from prospects. That's Limmer. So I know right away you're looking at offensive center here as his position. Don't get it twisted. Before this past season, he started at right guard, so he has significant experience at right guard for Arkansas, someone that slid over to the middle of the offensive line this past season, did a very, very good job. If he's here at 113, I can't argue with his value. This is someone that is probably going to be a backup, but an extremely high-level backup for all three positions on your offensive line. And with the way that offensive linemen get injured, it's a very volatile position. All throughout the five positions on the offensive line, you're going to need valuable depth. There's no depth behind Tyler Linderbaum. That's your guy. That's probably, maybe besides for Creed Humphrey, now that Jason Kelce retired, that's probably your best center in the NFL, or one of the top 5 centers in the NFL, in my opinion. If you lose him, that's no good, man. It's going to be a real tough time to replace him. So having a ready-made replacement in case, God forbid, someone goes down on all three interior offensive line positions is some value that I can't pass up. At 113, we're going to take Limmer. All right, sitting here at 130, there's some incredible talent still on the board at the cornerback position. I'll be the first to admit I was pretty much dead wrong about this positional group from the jump. I said early on in the draft cycle that this was not a deep group. There was a lot of high-end talent at the beginning of the draft and really not much else. And as this college football season and NFL draft cycle went along, I was proven dead wrong. This is one of the deepest groups we've seen. We've been spoiled with top end talent and embarrassment of riches the past 2 or 3 classes from the cornerback position. So, at an initial glance before doing really any deep diving, you think, the top 10 guys are really good. And then after that, it gets really, really hairy. But there's some incredible value up and down the board. And let me just say one thing. Just because a player is drafted in day 3 does not mean that he's not a phenomenal football player. It doesn't mean he's not a phenomenal selection. Day 3 picks make up the majority of the NFL. So these guys get playing time. They're good players. I don't understand why people get so outraged when I don't choose a certain positional group until day 3. These guys are good players. There's just a few guys that are better than them. That's all that it is. So anyway, I'm going to pick Elijah Jones here in the 5th round. I want to say pick number 130. Great overall player. He's got good height, good speed, 4.47 speed, can play on the boundary, can move all along the defensive alignment as well. I really love him as a backup cornerback here to Brandon Stevens and Marlon Humphrey. I blanked out on Marlon Humphrey there for a second. That was interesting. But yeah, on the outside, I do love that. There's quite a bit of depth on this depth chart as well, to be quite honest with you. That's why I kind of held off on this positional group until now. Right away, you look at the Baltimore Ravens and you think, oh, God, they need offensive line and corner. But it's not necessarily the case. I think they just need to add talent further down the board. By the way, we also made a trade. I forgot to say that as well. We traded because of just how much talent there is in this group between 165 and 218. And then we had picks 228 and 250. So I packaged pick 228 and 250 and a 6th round pick for next year. And I moved up to 186 just to close this gap, because those picks are nice to have at the back end of the 7th round, but I really wanted to maximize the value of this draft class. So I did move up. I traded 2 picks in this class to move up in between 218 and 165. So we're going to take Elijah Jones here at 130. At 165 here, I'm hell-bent on adding a little bit more depth along the defensive line, along the edge rushing group here. I believe that Odafe Owa, or Dafe Owa, however you say it, is slotted to start, as well as, I want to say, David Ojabo on the other side. I want to add a little bit more. There's some fine players on this depth chart, I got to be honest with you. I feel like the Baltimore Ravens play with such a rotation that it doesn't necessarily really matter who the starter is. A lot of these guys get in there and they play meaningful snaps. But Muhammad Kamara is still on the board here at 165 somehow. That's exactly who I'm going to play. You're looking at one of the most productive players off the edge over the last 3 years, 28.5 sacks, a little bit small for the position, 6'1", 250 pounds, around that range. But he's really, really explosive. He's also tremendous against the run off the edge, sets the edge very, very well, makes explosive plays into the backfield. He has a ton of tackles for a loss besides for the sacks. He's a really great player. And if you can get some kind of value like this at 165, someone that could play meaningful snaps, being a 3-man, 4-man rotation off the edge, I don't think you can get much better than that. That's Ravens football. So we're going to take Muhammad Kamara here at 165. At number 186 here, I'm going to add a linebacker. I'm looking up and down the linebacker board here, and I see just an immense amount of day 3 talent here. Some guys that I really like here. Jackson Mitchell is someone who's a tremendous coverage linebacker. Love that a lot. Not really what I'm looking for here for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm looking at Nathaniel Watson. Unbelievable player in terms of just, if people were praised for just waking up, doing their jobs, and going home, that's exactly what Nathaniel Watson is. He's one of the best tackling linebackers in the entire draft class. Don't understand how he is this far down on the big board here. I don't really get it, to be quite honest with you. Outstanding player. I believe he won SEC Defensive Player of the Year or like co-Defensive Player of the Year. Someone please fact check me on that. I don't know off the top of my head, but he's a really, really great player. Like I said, tremendous tackler. He's going to offer that thump that you really need. He's a good run stuffer as well. He's not really someone that's going to, be the greatest coverage guy, but with Trenton Simpson and with Roquan Smith, I'm really looking for that third linebacker, that third off-ball inside linebacker that I'm looking for to kind of just come in whenever needed and be that third man in that rotation. That's going to be Nathaniel Watson at 186. And to round it off here for the Baltimore Ravens at pick number 218, how about a little speed into the mix here? Love what Anthony Gold can bring to the table for the Baltimore Ravens. This is someone that I believe had the second fastest 40 time of any wide receiver at the 2024 NFL Combine. Don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. I believe it was close if it wasn't. He was definitely top 3 or top 5. But super tiny, 5'8". He's going to pack that electric speed, that just blow off the top defense type of speed. Also, really, I think he could be a really, really good kick returner, punt returner. I don't think that the Baltimore Ravens need that. I believe they have Tylan Wallace doing both of those, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's definitely a punt returner because he returned that punt to win the game in overtime. But I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But that offers you another wrinkle in his game. He could be that gadget type of player, that 7th round or end of the 6th round type of guy that you get and you're like, who is this guy? He reminds me of Rashid Shaheed, except with a little bit less size. So I'm going to take Anthony Gold here to round out this 2024 draft class. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There's your full 2024 Baltimore Ravens mock draft. At number 30, we took Tyler Guyton, tackle out of Oklahoma. At number 62, we took Cameron Kinchens, who somehow fell all the way to 62. At 93, we took Javon Baker. At number 113, we took Bo Limmer. At 130, we took Elijah Jones. 165, we took Muhammad Kamara. We traded the 228th and 250th pick this year and a 6th round pick next year to move back into the 6th round to take 186 and to take Nathaniel Watson. And with our last pick in the entire draft, we took Anthony Gold, wide receiver out of Oregon State. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I think this is a super interesting draft for the Baltimore Ravens, but of course you guys know way better than I do, so I love interacting with you guys in the comment section below. Please leave a like. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.